The staying power that you need to get to the end of the tunnel starts with you.
The light at the end of the tunnel usually comes at the point when you give up.
Challenges builds you up.
Hello, Makamba family. Welcome to another episode of Makamba Unfiltered Conversations. And my name remains Enobong, your favorite host. I'm sure your favorite host by this time. So today we are tackling a theme. In fact, themes, that every entrepreneur, leader, and faith-based, business Christian would want to really listen to. It's actually a power-packed session. I don't want to divulge anything because I have three amazing, and in my own words, amazeballs, entrepreneurs, founders, business people, entrepreneurs, anything you want to call them. They're currently with me on the set today. Today, we're going to be talking about startup setbacks. We're going to be talking about financial pressure, uncertainty, balancing ministry and entrepreneurship. We're going to be talking about if the road is really smooth or is straight, what role resilience plays, in faith-based businesses. We're going to be looking at the weight of feeling overwhelming. Oh my goodness. Today's show is power-packed. I can't even start to imagine what you're going to be listening to. The conversations are going to range from disruptions, entrepreneurship, bridging spiritual grounding, business growth. It's going to be so much. If you are near your coffee, please pick it up. A bottle of nice juice, water, a snack, anything that will make you feel comfortable is so welcomed at this time because we're taking you on a journey where we are going to be diving into surviving tough seasons, learning to thrive, and to dive in. On the set, I have three guests on Makamba Unfiltered Conversations, and I would like them to introduce themselves because these are heavy people. And it's only Makamba that can do this. So I'd like them to introduce themselves.
Hello, everyone. I'm Joseph, and I'm the founder of Senti. Senti is a cross-border platform that helps businesses import from any part of the world and gets these goods over to them in Nigeria.
Awesome.
My name is Ngozi, and I work at the intersection of innovation, community and ecosystem building, and faith. So somewhere around those three axes, you would find me in the center.
Hi, my name is Ibukun. I'm CEO and founder of 8 Medical. And 8 Medical is a platform that connects urgent and emergency medical resources to users in need. So resources like hospitals, ambulances, personnel, information, and credit on one platform to users. So think of Uber plus 911, but for Nigeria. Thanks.
Awesome. So I have Joseph, Ngozi, and Ibukun about to do some great things to the questions that we have for them today. So get set. This is going to be a conversation full of insight, full of challenge and inspiration. So let's dive in. Are we ready? My amazeballs guest. And hey, did you notice we all seem to have one black? So on Makamba Unfiltered Conversations, we get the memo. I hope you're wearing black back home as you listen to this. So we'll start with the first question. And as they say, ladies first. Gentlemen, am I allowed to pick our one and only lady on the set? Okay, so Ngozi, I'm going to start with you. When you hear the phrase navigating challenges as an entrepreneur, what comes to mind as a leader? What comes to your mind?
So for me, when I hear navigating challenges, the first thing that comes to mind is really capacity and people. In my line of work, those are things that interact with a lot. And so when I say capacity, it means like, okay, there is a problem, there is a challenge in front of you. Do you have the capacity? So it's a test of my capacity, it's a test of my resilience, and it's a test of my ability to think on my feet and just to weather storms. Obviously, every time you have a challenge, it could be caused directly by people, or it could just be caused by circumstances. And so when it's caused by people, what is your people management skill set like? And are you going to grow from this? And is this caused by you or by things beyond your control? And so when I think of challenge, those are the things I think of it from a place of growth, because at the end of the day, it's like, are you going to grow from this, or is this something that you should drop? That's really what comes to my mind when I think of challenges and navigating challenges. And so when you begin to now think around, okay, this is a challenge, how do I navigate this? It makes me introspect. When I think of challenges, I introspect a lot, and I'm like,
so there's a reflection going on your inside
do I have
first.
the capacity to weather this? Do I need support to weather this? And community comes to mind, really, when I think of that.
Okay, Ibukun, can we get a quick response to the same question?
I'm laughing because when you think of challenge, is like, living in Nigeria is a challenge.
Yeah, that's why they say Nigeria happens to us. Yeah.
It's like let's first start from that. So I think being alive and breathing in Nigeria is a challenge in itself. Right. And if you think about it, I think that's why they say Nigeria is more of a religious. I think in West Africa, but Nigeria in particular is more of a religious country, because like we put a lot of prayers to things that most people in the world don't pray about, don't even think about. So,
welcome to our world.
So in the UK, it's like you're praying in the morning, it's like, oh, we pray that God guides us and let us arrive at work safely, and let the driver have sense, let no downfall driver hit us. You get like so many things that you pray about.
Okay.
Right.
So how are we navigating all this?
So honestly,
what would you do?
It's committing it to God's hands.
Every day.
Literally. So waking up and committing your day into God's hands.
Yeah.
And then hoping and praying that He sees you, and then He...
On an Elroy level.
Yeah, and then sorts you out, really.
Yeah.
So, I mean, and that's not even talking about going to work or running a startup or dealing with the people in the startup or dealing with the problems that the country's throwing at you because you happen to be a business owner. I mean, there's so many things. Like, I think it's endless. I can literally do A to Z of challenge.
I think we'll bring you back on the podcast just to talk about navigating challenges. What do you think, Ibukun? Because you seem to have a lot to say. So, Joseph, to you.
It's something that we have to wrestle with every day, especially in the line of business that I have decided to run a startup in. Challenges builds you up, right? So if you're not able to navigate, if you're always seeing obstacles and challenges in front of you at every point in time, it limits the way you think about delivering value. So the idea at the end of the day is to see the challenge as something that you can surmount. So God is not going to give you something that you cannot surmount or work.
Yeah, so that kind of ties into what Ngozi was saying when she said capacity.
Exactly.
You have to look into yourself and first of all introspect.
Exactly.
And ask yourself, do I have capacity to overcome that? Fantastic. Loving the responses. So I'm going to throw this to you now, Ibukun. So startups often, face failure, uncertainty, financial pressure, Can you share a personal experience where faith helped you to push through? Because, question is coming to you because you ended with saying, you got to wake up and you got to pray to God. You've got to pray and ask God to take charge over your day. You understand? So can you just share like a personal experience, on how, faith helped you to push through, failure, uncertainty, financial pressure?
So, there's so many instances. So it's very interesting because so I'm married, right? And I always tell my wife this, right? Is that I use her as an example sometimes, but then I'll get to the point which you asked. Is that I have personally watched her own life, right? So she's never had to really struggle for anything. So throughout school, she finishes school, there's work waiting. After work, if she decides to leave another job, there's another one there. It's like, she really doesn't hustle for work, right? So even living life, I always point out, I'm like, don't stress. Like, the God that I've seen operate with you, is operating at another level. So I don't know why you're stressed. Like, I'm not stressed because I've seen things happen for you, right? So, I guess in recent times, so this has happened over time, over the life of our startup, really. And they usually tell you, like, startups are either going from, happiness to sadness, from being ecstatic to being depressed. Why? Because you're either going from bountiful to empty.
Yeah.
Literally, right? It's a literal cycle that you go through. So from being able to pay salary to not being able to pay salary.
Thank you for reminding me about that.
Yeah, so like there are so many things like that happening, right? And so I guess a more recent thing was that I started, so I guess this year, we just started applying for doing a bit more. So we are, like I said, building 911 for Nigeria, right? So if you think about it, emergency response. Emergency response, I mean, there was a fire at UBA yesterday.
Yes.
Right?
I actually heard it too. A lot of people lost their lives.
Yeah, so it's like, this is with us, right? If you thought COVID came and went, like, this has been with us. It was with our parents. It's with us. It's going to be with our children, right? So it's like, it's a pervasive pandemic, right? So to be able to solve this problem, apart from understanding the space, right, you need to have money. There's no two ways about it. You can speak all the English you want to speak, right? If you don't have money to solve the problem, right, it doesn't go anywhere. You have the money to employ people, and it's an asset-heavy space. Like, you have to be really interested. So one thing we've done this year is apply for, I won't say free cash, but apply for grants. You can apply to different programs here and there, blah. And in the past, we've run this for 4 years, right? And we haven't really applied for free cash. Like, we've raised a bit of money, we've generated internal revenue, right? And used that to run, right? Like a proper, very traditional business, right? But then we now started to apply this year. I guess for the first time, right, I was really serious about it. But there's a lot of, well, if I look at my wife is also in the startup space. If I look at my wife has gotten grants, she's gotten funding, I was like, what's happening to you guys? So I started to get a bit more serious, to get prayer about it a bit more. And literally, I think we applied to CC Hub, right, which is very popular.
Yeah.
Right. At the time we applied, literally we were running empty. I can't even lie. Do you get? Like, we were running empty. And empty not because we didn't have money, but empty because we had a lot of outstandings. We have a lot of clients we deal with. Before they pay you, you have to change things like that. So, and then I bumped into, so for me, I take things as signs, right? I was registering at an event and I bumped into Ngozi. Right? Interestingly so. I was just starting, I was like, oh, and I saw the first time she's from CCF. I was like, interesting. Do you get? Okay, cool. These are people I applied to, right? And I just heard back from that. If I meet somebody here, that's a sign. Right? So I spoke to her. I was like, I did this. She was like, she hasn't really heard about this. Oh, okay, this and that. Okay, you know what? Attend our event and just come, basically. So I'm like, okay, if that event, I might meet Stephanie. Do you get, like, which is like, I've heard is the head of design for health. And I was like, okay, cool. Maybe this is a sign. So I stayed today and I was like, I have to find Stephanie. So I said, I think I bumped into Stephanie as well. Do you get? And she was just saying, how you keep on pushing on, like, you just never really know. Like, most times, like, the light at the end of the tunnel usually comes at the point when you give up, right? Which is something I always say to my wife as well. Right? So it was time for me to apply it. And that night I had a deadline, right? And I just sat down at a hotel, really, and I kept on applying, finished it up, and then we eventually got in, right? So I can say, I met me from CCL, so maybe they like me. I don't know, do you get? But at the end of the day, right, I would put it down. So it was one of the first, like, major grants that we got, right? And after getting it, I was like, so we got this one. How many people? For me, it was a validation of the work that we had done.
You're doing,
we're doing one. But two, it was also like a thing of faith as well.
Yeah.
Right?
Prayer works. Prayer works.
Yeah. So at the end of the day, I don't know whether God went to stop everybody in system and said, you must give this guy. I don't know, do you get? But at the end of the day, so for me, it was a point. And after that, we've actually gotten other things.
Awesome.
So that's
Thank you for sharing.
That
That was really nice. Thank you for sharing. I think I picked 1 or 2 tips from that I shall be using, since I know Ngozi and Stephanie as well. So I mean, that kind of works.
Yeah.
You know. Okay, so Joseph, now to you. Wow, this is getting more and more interesting. So many startups focus heavily on profit and on growth. Not many have begun to apply the technology tool. But I believe that in your business, you're leveraging on technology a lot. So how, can technology be used as a tool, for solving real societal problems? Because a lot of startups, are not particularly doing that now. And they're there. So how can technology be used, as a tool for actually solving real societal problems, instead?
Yeah, so you guys have seen the progression of how technology has grown across Africa.
Mm-hmm.
There was a time where if you'd want to make a phone call, you'd have to go downstairs, go get a landline and pay 30 naira or 20 naira at that time.
Yeah.
But now you can still stay in the comfort of your home and have a Zoom call or have a WhatsApp video call with anybody anywhere in the world, right? So we are able to see technology as a force multiplier. We're able to say, okay, based on where we are at right now, how can we leapfrog to a path where we are better off? And technology is getting a lot more cheaper, so it's possible for us to actually work with it on a day-to-day basis. So for a startup like myself, Senti, we have the problem of, we have a lot of non-consumers in the sense that if you'd want to import from China or you'd want to import from any part of the world, even if you're in Sokoto State and you want to get products from Lagos, you most likely have to come over to Lagos sometimes to be able to see your suppliers, to be able to have conversations with them, and to even to vet that they actually do exist, right? But right now with technology, you can sit in Sokoto State and import from China. You can sit in Sokoto State, import from the UK. You can even get your products from Lagos and just from the comfort of your home. And there's always this problem of FX, right?
Yeah.
You guys know about FX, where you'd have to always go source dollars to send to someone, even to pay school fees, to send to your suppliers. And you have to go to your bank. With the solutions that we are building, and this is tech-based, you can now pay for these services with Naira, right? Just from the comfort of your home. At the end of the day, technology is something that has come to stay. And for impact, you'd have to leverage it heavily. So in education, in logistics, in healthcare, we're able to see how technology is able to push forward humans, raise them up in the socioeconomic ladder, give them access to wealth. Many of us are coming from a background where it's a bit humble, right? And we've been able to acquire what we have acquired by just learning how to build software or learning how to communicate or learning how to do project management. And these are technological tools. It's quite different from what our parents were used to, right?
Yeah.
So things are changing, and
Not
this
just
is
our
something,
parents, even, our generation as well. We're just fortunate that technology came on board to help our ministry, if you understand what I mean, so that we could also...
So tech is, in and of itself, is something that we all have to pay very close attention to and move towards it, because without it, there's nothing really you're doing.
I'm just going to ask Ngozi to say maybe very few, in a minute or so, because I know you're involved in community and innovation and all that. So how has tech also helped in trying to actually solve societal problems?
So first thing that technology has done, feeding off of what he has said, is provided access. So typically you would only know what's happening in your house, in your environment. But with technology, you're able to know that, beyond here, there's a life out there. You're able to reach more people. You're able to, expand what your knowledge base and form a community that sort of like sustains you. And so when we bring it into the world of community building or ecosystem building, we're able to use technology to identify even talents for speakers, just like that. Like, we have the LinkedIns, we have the social media, and these are all things that were enabled by technology. And so we're able to feed off of that to build ecosystem community that allows even for knowledge sharing. So we're able to use technology to bring people into a space to begin to have, peer-to-peer learning, knowledge sharing, interactions, begin to interrogate what the real problems that we're having in the community, in society is. So by the time you're able to identify, in Kaduna, there is XYZ caliber of person, right? Which ordinarily, if without the access to internet with your phone, right, you might not be able to know that. Or there is this kind of person that lives in Kaduna, right? And so by the time you're able to identify those, you're able to, send an invitation to them to come join you guys in a round table. Take for instance, something as simple as a round table. They're able to look you up, using internet, using the technology. They're able to look you up. They're able to identify that, okay, yeah, these are the kind of people I want to associate myself with. They honor your invitation to come down. Like that, there is a transference of, knowledge. There's a transference of, community even. People are able to, visibility. People are able to see what you're building. People are able to, interact with your solution, and they're able to adopt your solution because they've been able to meet you. So that's one thing that technology has really done.
Needs are actually
exactly
on the spot, on the go. Needs are actually being met. Problems are being solved. Community is getting closer. People are getting
building,
building,
inspired.
Exactly.
You're getting inspired.
Exactly, and I mean,
there's growth, because at the end of it is growth.
Yeah.
At the end of it is social capital is increased, is leveraged. At the end of it is that even the nation's GDP increases. Your GDP, your revenue increases as well, and you're able to even identify even more unique challenges that technology can even further be leveraged on to create more solutions that work.
Thank you. That's really awesome. So Ibukun would say, he's not wearing the pastor's cloak. How come the questions that has to do with ministry keeps hitting him? I'm just trying to, bounce this off to say, okay, would you say that ministry and entrepreneurship, right, are two separate callings, or they are interconnected in your life and in your business? Is there where they meet?
Ministry and entrepreneurship, is there where they meet? Well, first and foremost, right, I have a long line of pastors in my house, right? And my dad is a pastor, right?
Okay.
So, but ministry and entrepreneurship, right? Yes, I'd say yes. They're sort of like intertwined to a certain extent, right? I guess for me, it's from the standpoint of serving in other ways that do not involve climbing the pulpit, right? So giving of yourself,
fantastic,
right?
Yeah.
So for instance, like we provide urgent and emergency care. So like we're trying to solve like a pervasive pandemic, emergency, lack of access to emergency care in Nigeria, which is, I like to think, is the toughest problem to solve, right? Because that involves a lot of stakeholders, interconnected, private, public, government, different levels, ministries, bringing everybody together to solve the problem. So what we have done, I guess that's where our own intersection comes into place, because I go to church, right? I belong to, for instance, I belong to Elevation. As opposed to joining the medical unit, because I'm a doctor, right? So, I was supposed to join the medical unit of the church.
Of the church.
Right. I decided to support the church, like, with emergency service every week.
Okay.
All right. So we provide, like an ambulance on standby for the church.
So there's an interconnection at every point in time.
Yes, every week. Yeah. So that's 52 weeks a year.
Wow.
Right. Yeah. And it's free. Right. So for me, that's my own ministry at the end of the day, right?
Obviously.
And to be honest, like, even as a church, I can say it anywhere. Like, it took a long time to convince them to give it to them for free. Right? Because it's like, we're in church. What's going to go on? Like, Jesus, it's like, people will be afraid, church. But then over time, they too have come to see the effect. So now it's like, we're not tied at the hip, right? So if the day we say we're not there, it's like, what's happening? Do you get? So for me, that's the intersection for me, where I've been able to give of, what I say, my skill of what it is I can give.
Great intersection, great intersection.
Necessarily.
So you don't necessarily have to wear the cloak or stand on the pulpit, but you are actually using, to meet a need for the church.
Yes.
And that in itself is, that connection. Awesome. I like that. Joseph,
So adding to what he said, right? The context of ministry for me and startup is your everyday life, right?
Living to people.
Yeah. discussing with people, being with people, and having people interact with you and understand that your values are Christian values. So it's a way to preach the gospel, right? It's a way for people to see Christ through you, right? And it's a way for you to also impact. Impact in this context is, I would like to do business with Joseph because I know he's not out to cheat me because he's a Christian, right? That is some ways that I would want to, I think about ministry and think about serving God through the works of my hands. So making sure that people can see Christ through the works. So it means not being lazy. It means delivering value. Say what you can offer, right? Do the things that you said you're going to do, right? These are things that are, they might look small, right? But people are able to say the reason why he's able to do this is because that's his own way of giving out value and being in ministry.
Awesome. Because did you want to add something to
Thank
very
you.
quickly?
Yes, I do want to add something. So for me, I see it as sometimes we look at them as two separate entities coming together. But I think for me, it's really like they're coming from the same tree. They're not separate. It's
no
you.
Multiple personality thing.
Yes, because essentially, it's your faith is at the core of who you are, and you give
deep,
from where you are, right? And so, when you begin to start separating yourself from, there is my faith, and then there is entrepreneurship. It begins to me, that's how I say it. It begins to make it seem like I need to bring, when we're talking about church things, I bring my faith side to it. Then when they're talking about entrepreneurship, I now bring my business, the business thing now shows up. But as a person of faith, I believe that it is the faith that fits the entrepreneurial aspect of you. So you are one and the same person. And it should, speaking to what he said about, your principles and how your principles are formed from, your faith background or your faith beliefs. Because when we talk about faith, we're really talking about the fact that you're a Christian. That's really what we're talking about. And as a Christian who believes in God, everything should flow in from that same tree. And so your Christianity influences your entrepreneurship style. It affects even the wisdom that you apply to the business. It affects even your interaction. And so an intersection to me is really, I would say, very non-existent in my own point of view. There is no intersection because there is no dividing line to begin with. There shouldn't be a dividing line to begin with. So there is no meeting point. It is from the same tree that you flow from. And so if there is a what's the word? If there is a discontinuation or there is a difference between who you are in church and who you are in your business, there is already a problem with the Christian life to begin with. That's how I see it.
Awesome response. So I want to assume that there has not been any. You've not had to make sacrifices or trade-offs.
Oh, I have had to.
So
I have had
in order to stay faithful.
Yeah.
Ibukun, have you had to make sacrifices or trade-offs for you to be able to stay faithful to this path? Because all three of you have said, you can't separate one from the other, which I completely agree with.
Yeah.
You can't be someone different in your entrepreneurial life and then somebody different when you're in church. You know? Even Jesus had to say, look, pick a side. Come on. You're either hot or you're cold. Pick a side. So it's assuming that, of course, you've had to have had some sacrifices, done some trade-offs to be able to stay so faithful.
And even made some mistakes. There is no perfect person, right? And even though I have this personal belief, there are times where, I would do something and I'm like, are you really a Christian? This thing that you just did now. Like, do you understand? So
what would Jesus do kind of moves?
Not just even what would Jesus, it's the fact that you've already done that thing that Jesus would not have done. Right? And then you're now beginning to question yourself. So I'm not saying from a perfect standpoint that I haven't made mistakes. There are times where I've done things that are very incongruent to what I say I am. That's the Christian that I have said. I've said that I am. But having that mindset sort of reduces the amount of times that you would have made that mistake or you would have compromised in what you're meant to deliver on.
So how do you deal with burnout? It's a question I need to ask. How do you deal with burnout? Joseph, how do you deal, so, very quickly, because we've got to
burnout is constant, right? Especially when you're a startup founder, you would have high highs, low lows, really low lows, right? You would feel like what you're doing doesn't make any sense, and you would work very hard. It's like, as Elon Musk would put it, eating glass and staring into the abyss.
Oh yeah.
So you would experience it, but one thing that you have to stay grounded in your conviction. Number one, and there are times that you can just take a pause, right? Go out, take a walk, right? Understand that Christ in you is the hope of glory, right? Right? You have to hold on to your Christian faith. You have to hold on to your God's promises to you. But more importantly, you have to rest. Stress affects you too. It's body. It's this same body that we all have, right? So you have to be very intentional about your health. Sleeping 8 hours is not.
It's not a cliche.
It's not a cliche. Like, you'd have to take time to sleep so that your brain works.
Yeah.
So sleeping, eating good food, right? Taking walks, and being grounded in your conviction. That's how I deal with burnout.
Ibukun, how do you deal with burnout?
Burnout deals with me.
Burnout. I like that. That's why we are Unfiltered Conversations, actually.
It's like burnout deals with me, like literally this morning. So I always tell people that like, I'm the most reachable person, right, on this planet. Why? Because I just have this penchant for having my phone on like 24/7. Like, my phone cannot die. Like, why is my phone dying? Like, what kind of nonsense is that? Right? So I have family, I have friends, I have clients that need to reach me. Like, and if you're not reaching me, somebody's dying. That's how I feel. Right? So for burnout, I'd like to say rest, right? But even when you try to rest, like, I can't, like, rest is not part of, like, so this morning is not part of my it's not like on my calendar. Like, I have a calendar and there's no rest on it. Right? But this morning, my phone was off. Like, this morning, so like, someone tried to reach me this morning, all right? And my phone was off. Like, it was off, like, it wasn't plugged in. I woke up this morning and I was confused. I was dazed. Obviously, I was burnt out over the past week. This is midweek now. Like, it's not the end of the weekend, right? But like, over time of, like, I sleep literally at 5 a.m. I'm up again at 7 or 8, like, every day consistently. I'm doing that since medical school. So coming to startup was beans, because, like, startup founder, you wake up, you go to work, and you listen to people give you reports. In medical school, you have to use your brain at 5 a.m. to write exam after sleeping at another time. So I don't know that I deal with burnout at all. Right. So in reality,
and you're a doctor.
Burnout deals with me.
Okay, we might need to do something about you. Like I said, Ibukun, you are probably coming back on my set again. Yeah. Definitely. So Ngozi, very quickly, how do you deal with burnout? I hope it doesn't deal with you like Ibukun.
Not going to lie. Well, I think one thing that I do is to sleep. Really.
Okay.
I know I would just sleep. I'll just tell myself, you've tried. You've done the best that you can do at this point. So just rest. And so burnout, I don't think it's something that I know how to deal with, honestly. It's something that I manage.
Okay, because you probably come back on this show as well, because we're going to need you to tell our audience, because we have audience out there who want to hear. But I like the fact that you're being honest.
Yeah.
Hence the Unfiltered. You understand? You're being honest with the fact that, you know what, we're young, we're running this thing, and it's important that we're putting the energy, now. But again, we have quite a number of young people that are succumbing to things that they shouldn't be succumbing to in their ages. So we're also trying to say, you know what, you need to catch yourself as well.
Yeah.
Okay? And intentionally and deliberately begin to put some practices in place. Okay, I completely flow with you. I mean, on the burnout level.
I have some things that I do aside from sleep. I try to create some form of Zen state in my room. How I do that is I have this audio Bible. I just play it. It's like good noise. Yeah, sometimes it's like good noise, and it just plays in, and before you know what's happening, your spirit just begins to absorb those words.
Have one of those instrumental
and
things. Yeah,
I always try to use the Bible because I've realized that there are lots of things out there. People are now dabbling into new age practices. There are music that are just where that sound is coming from.
Yeah, I get
can
you.
just put a different kind of spirit on the inside of you that you do not want.
Yeah.
And so I play it safe. I just do my Bible. And the reason I do my Bible is because somehow I have realized that I receive strength. My spirit is rejuvenated at the end of that exercise. I wake up better with more drive to do something.
Yeah.
It does not mean that I'm not tired. It's more a case of, in spite of what I'm feeling, I can show up. And at the same time, I do have at the workplace, you have your liberty to say, I'm tired. And you can, you're told, okay, that's fine. You can
Awesome.
go and rest.
We're actually wrapping up now. So I'm just going to ask Joseph in 30, 40 seconds, what advice would you give to young innovators, right? Who want to build for impact, but fear of being too idealistic. They want to build for impact because the whole essence of why you are in the marketplace is because you want to solve a problem. So it's important to build for impact, but at the same time, they also don't want to be seen as being too idealistic. So how would you advise?
So do hard things. That's the first advice.
Do
hard things.
Do hard things. Wow.
Now that you're young,
okay,
right?
Okay, nobody told me that.
Yeah, do hard things. So in the context of he's solving a very hard problem.
Yeah, he is actually.
Try to be very intentional about your conviction. Understand that it's a market, so you're not going to go and deal with your pastors or deal with your parents. They would honor the market dynamics. If the solution you're providing is not helping anybody, it's not helping anybody save money, right, or save time, then it's not going to work, right? Nobody's going to pay for it. We are in an environment where capital is sensible. So do hard things. Be very intentional about your approach to work and trust the process, right? Especially when you're doing the work, you know exactly what you're doing. Trust that process. True. If you're young, right, and you have time, so stay in. Just stay in. It will all turn out good.
Okay, Ibukun, 30 seconds. What would you advise?
Personally, I advise people, like Joseph mentioned, do things that actually help people. So someone once mentioned, I don't know where I read it, or someone mentioned to me, there's no way you can create a solution or do something that solves another person's problem, right? So a lot of people do things because they believe they have a problem, right? So it's like,
exactly, that's what you usually
I have a problem, so it's like
everybody else has the same.
Everybody has the same
Exactly.
problem. No. So if you spend time thinking and solving another person's problem, and you solve that problem in multiple places, right? There's no way you're adding so much value and money won't follow, right? Keep on keeping on, and most importantly, right? Don't quit.
Yeah.
Right, before you get started. Right, there's so many memes on Instagram when you see someone digging for gold, and then they turn around, and the gold is literally on the next dig.
Yeah.
Right. Stay on it. We're young. There's so much time. Right. There's a lot of things to achieve, and we're in a country where there are so many challenges. There's so many challenges, so many problems to solve.
Like I always say when I'm lecturing, because I lecture for one of the business schools, and I usually would say that it's a blue ocean market now. So the era of the red ocean is completely gone. It's a blue ocean market, and the water is so wide, and there's so many things we can do, we can solve. Makamba is here solving a problem. Yeah, so there is so much to do really. And, you need to just find it and stay at it.
Stay at it.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially because you're in Nigeria, right? Nigeria is a different beast entirely. I say to everyone, that's one of the reasons why I love working here in Nigeria. Because if you think you know, right, come to Nigeria. Right? And Nigeria will teach you.
Some things, I know.
All right, so that's it. Keep on at it, yeah.
Thank you, Ibukun. So, Ngozi, last word from you.
Okay, so I'm going to speak from the community aspects of things because of our interactions with a lot of startup founders. And I would say to every startup founder or any entrepreneur that the staying power that you need to get to the end of this tunnel starts with you. right? It starts with you, the resilience that you need, the mental agility that you need, the spiritual consciousness that you need, even the self-awareness that you need to run a business starts from you. And so I would say, check yourself, build up yourself first, because like you would have heard them say, it gets tough. It really does get tough. And Nigeria is a very interesting place. Very interesting place. So you need to hold your God close.
Yeah.
Not because he's a means to an end, but because he is the source from which everything flows, including the strength that you need, the favor that you need, the help that you need, the resources that you need, and even the community that you need, the wisdom that you need. He is the source. So hold your God close. Hold community close, because as a founder, you cannot build in silo. We've seen a lot of people break down mentally, and I'm like, if you had been in the circle of people who can hold you up, right, it would have helped you a lot.
Wow.
And it would, if you are also in the midst of people, you would have been inspired. You would have heard stories that would keep you grounded. And so I would say, don't build in silo. Be a part of a community. If you have the money and you can afford it, you may want to consider therapy. Because things happen that you cannot understand where it's coming from.
Thank you very much for bringing that up.
And sometimes what a therapist does is that it helps you make sense of your thoughts. Because it's not like you are incapable of doing what you're meant to do. Because a lot of founders struggle with imposter syndrome. Can I be in this room? Am I worthy to be in this room? Do I deserve it? I've not raised XYZ amount of money, right? So why am I in this room? I don't have the capacity. But if you're able to sort of like be in community, and if you're able to sort of like even build up yourself, you can't stay there. You can find yourself being able to stay there. And a therapist would help you, make sense of who you are and help you just even build up your courage and your confidence to remain in the room. So I would say 3 things: hold your God close, be in the midst of community, and, if you can afford it, afford therapy. And community also means family. It also means your friends. It could also mean fellow entrepreneurs. But just ensure that you have a community that just kind of like propels you forward.
Wow, awesome. This has been a really, really interesting time for me on this particular episode. I want to say thank you to Ibukun. Thank you. You shared some really great insights. I would ask that, like they would usually say in church, go back and listen to the message. I would say to my audience, go back and play this over and over and over again. Thank you to Ibukun. Thank you, Ngozi. Great insights. I'm holding those 3 things, like you said. And of course to you, Joseph. Joseph is that calm person, but when he speaks, you could actually feel the weight. I could feel the weight from where I'm sitting, on, the nuggets and the drops that he's done a lot. And the last thing that you said, Ngozi, which is very key, and funny enough, I'm a certified counselor from the Chartered Institute of Counseling. So when we tell people that, get into this thing, it doesn't degrade you. It doesn't mean that you're going cocoa or something. It just means you're staying grounded, and ensuring that all parts are working for you. So I want to say thank you so much for being my guests on this particular episode of Makamba. I thank you for joining me. To my audience, I hope you watch this episode and, get out of this episode a fresh perspective of what it means to innovate with purpose, build businesses that actually serve, build businesses that uplift, and leave a legacy, that is beyond profit. And that's what Ibukun, Ngozi, and Joseph have been talking about. You need to remember that the greatest innovations are not just clever products or clever services or disruptive ideas, but they are solutions that actually touch lives, which is, what Ibukun has, really stretched upon today. Empower communities, which is what Ngozi has spoken a lot today, and move society forward, which is what Joseph has also talked about. So to my audience, I'll say, as you step into the new week, as you continue till the end of the year, 2025, and as you, do your thing every day, ask yourself, are you building for success or are you building for significance? You need to check that. So until next time, keep innovating with purpose and with impact. And like we say on Makamba, keep it raw, keep it real, keep it unfiltered. See you next time on another episode. Thank you very much, and thank you to my guests.
Thank you for having us.
Okay, so like we do on Makamba, because this is a different kind of podcast. So, like we say, it's Unfiltered Conversations. We also give out lovely filtered gifts. So as we do on Makamba, I would like to say thank you, Ibukun, for coming on Makamba. And thank you so much, Ngozi, for gracing us, and of course to Joseph.
Thank you.
You know, we would like, to say thank you. We do not take your insights and, all you shared for granted. So we always like to leave you with a beautiful thing so that you will remember us and actually give us a call that you want to come back again on our show. So thank you so much for gracing us, and please have your friends and family, business partners, clients, subscribe to Makamba, Thank you so much again. Keep it raw. Keep it real, keep it unfiltered on Makamba, Unfiltered Conversations. Thank you.